What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. And today we are going over the quarterback carousel, which just might end up being as crazy, if not crazier, than the coaching carousel that we had in the NFL recently. There are several teams that are going to be looking for quarterbacks, only so many options to go around. We're going to lay out who we think those options or where those options could land. But before we get into it, on this beautiful Wednesday evening, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
How am I doing today? Matt, you're just okay?
I'm fine. Not okay and like I'm okay, lower than good, more as like using okay as the standard instead of good that you might do with somebody on the street.
If you had to rate your standard of being right now from a 1 to 10,
it's a 5. I'm fine right now.
Okay,
but that's on a true 1 to 10 scale, yes. Not a 1 to 10 scale that 7 is actually the low end of that. I know a lot of people use.
Yes, where 5 is the average instead.
Well, I went to go see my parents this weekend, right, and we were going to go see Stavros Halkias, but he got snowed in New York, and he wasn't there, and there was also like no notification from Ticketmaster or from like his Twitter or from anything until we like got to the door, and there was a little piece of paper that said, sorry, gonna happen in April. So I was a little bummed about that, but then we went home, we watched Marty Supreme, got through like an hour of it. Parents weren't vibing with it. Honestly, I didn't think it was that great. We made it up to the tub scene, and then we watched Antique Roadshow and said, bang, we need to find a $20,000 painting at Goodwill. But I had a good time. I was glad to see my parents.
Oh, yeah, man.
Boomers don't rock with the Safdie brothers. I've never seen so many people walk out of a movie. When I worked at the movie theater, boomers hated Uncut Gems so much. They could not stomach that movie. They all walked out, and then they'd all come complain to us that it was the worst movie they'd ever seen. I went and watched it. One of my favorite movies of all time. They could not handle it. I don't know. I haven't seen Marty Supreme, but I think the problem with Uncut Gems is that it's just yelling, like literally from beginning to end. There's no like flow or popcorn dialogue or any spot for your brain to take a break. It's literally just people shouting over each other and being confusing for like 2 hours. It's pure chaos. And I just don't think many people went into a movie expecting that, and I think a lot of people just found it completely unwatchable. I don't know if Marty Supreme is the same way.
It was very high energy, but I didn't feel like tense about it, I guess. I just didn't care, I guess. But I didn't see the whole thing, so we've got no star rating on it from Letterboxd, and I'm also not some like high-level movie reviewer. I don't know how to put into words how I feel about like most of it, I guess. But the tub scene, I'm no spoilers, but I was just like, that sucks. I didn't like that. And then we said, let's watch Antique Roadshow. So
I've been watching Severance. I'm on season 2, episode 4, and something big just happened, but I guess I won't talk about it just in case someone's been like had it on their list.
If you're behind on Severance, it's like time to catch up or to not be upset if you hear it on a podcast, if I'm being honest.
I will not be watching Severance, so
it's a good show. I like it.
Why not, Blaiden?
Not for any like pretentious reason. It's hard for me to watch new shows. I just don't have the time for it typically.
Oh, okay.
You have the time to watch old shows? Like, do you just not have the time to watch shows generally?
So normally when I'm watching a show, it's like right before I go to bed. So I typically like to watch something that I've seen before so that I'm not like invested, and I end up staying up way later than I should, which I end up doing anyway, but then I stay up way later than I should. So
you're probably staying up less late if you watch something you haven't already seen, because then you're invested in the show and then you just go to bed when it's over. Whereas when you just have background noise on, you have no set endpoint, because that's all it is background noise.
Yeah, but I can fall asleep to background noise. I don't know.
You don't. You just said that you stay up way too late.
Yeah, but I stay up way too late because I'm like on my phone and I'm like,
yeah, if you
like
were watching a new show, if you were watching Severance, you wouldn't be interested in your phone because you'd be watching the show instead of you'd just be watching Office reruns that you've seen a million times.
First of all, I'm not watching The Office because I don't have Peacock. I have The Office on DVD, but I don't have a DVD player in my bedroom. So
I'm just saying that you can watch a new show and it'll be okay. Like,
but the thing is, I want to
clearly do have time to watch TV at the end of the day.
I want
is
to
what
fall
I'm arguing.
asleep watching the show is with the show on. And so like if I do that with a show that's new, then I'm either going to stay awake and keep watching, or I'm going to fall asleep during like an important part and miss something.
Or it's better to just never watch anything new again. Correct. Like I've seen what I saw when I was a kid, and we're good.
You're getting now. You understand.
Incredibly interesting.
Thomas the Tank Engine is here, guys. We're good. Adam Scott, Ben Stiller. Don't want to hear about it.
I can rewatch the same Star Wars shows over and over again forever.
You can.
And you can. You might miss out on like a good TV show, and you might like Severance. I think about Severance after I'm done watching it, Blaiden. Like
Severance,
after I'm done watching
is good.
Severance, I think about
finish season 2 and then come back to me.
We'll have a conversation,
pod, and then we'll get into it. Everybody who's listening right now, just be prepared. In a week, we're talking a little Severance ball.
Okay.
And either watch it or be prepared to maybe skip a little 7-minute, 30-second chunk.
We'll make sure to preface with spoilers for
okay, we'll come back to this. I did have a good time earlier today though, because I found a sports memorabilia store in Denver that's sick.
Sweet.
It is sweet. They have everything in there. Like I got a signed, it's right above me if you're watching. That's Algie Crumpler. And I got a signed Algie Crumpler picture for $15. They had a bunch of cards for $1 each. So I snagged Gronk and Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs.
Sweet.
I got a 2012 Super Bowl program.
That's cool.
But yeah, they had. What else was there?
I was going through. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Cammy got Booker, Chris Paul, and Steve Nash cards for $1 each.
I was at home. My parents are moving. I was at home going through like my old childhood bedroom stuff. Little Steve Smith poster really moved me. Old Dominique Hickson, wide receiver for the Panthers. He played for the Giants. His dad is a cop who used to work at the middle school that me and Blaiden went to. And he came in, and this was Hickson. He was like a rotational receiver or whatever, but he caught a game-winning touchdown for the Panthers in 2013 against the Saints. Big rain game. Luke Kuechly had like 20-something tackles. It was ridiculous. But he brought up, like, his son said, "Oh, I know him. He had so-and-so catch." And the next week he brought in a signed photo. It was sweet. So I saw that. But then I also found the old Game Boys. Huge. Yeah. Found some old Bakugan. Great toy. Bakugan.
Oh, dude. You remember Bakugan when we went in, we got like a bunch of Bakugan. Like had the cards and everything. They
were sweet. Those are
fire. Those and Beyblades. So, Bakugan and Beyblade.
Beyblades I never rolled with.
Okay.
So I've been looking at sports memorabilia too this week.
I thought about
Hold on. Theo, I don't mean to interrupt you here. Matt, we need to circle back to your parents are moving?
Yeah.
That's crazy news.
I don't think that's that crazy. I mean, it's a big change, but like,
yeah,
they're gonna retire.
Yeah, I just can't believe they're moving, dude.
I kind of get.
Fair enough. Just like, I don't know.
Gahanna, Ohio. It's nice.
I just imagine that our parents would live in the same houses that we grew up in forever. You know.
Bro has never watched a new TV show. I thought we'd live in our childhood houses forever.
What do you mean I'm not 15?
What do you mean I'm 25 and not 15?
I thought about you, Matt. I almost got there was a whole box full of these signed pictures about this big, and there was Steve Berline, the Panthers quarterback. He was $15, and I thought maybe I'd hang that up just to mess with
I'd
you.
mess with my mind, dude. I'm glad you didn't.
You wouldn't have cared. There was Paul Warfield. That's the only Brown I remember.
Hey,
Blaiden.
Shout out Paul Warfield. He was on
there was some good old.
They
had like a
72
Lou the
Dolphins
Toe
team.
Graza for like $30. I don't know, but it was cool. It was cool. So that's how I tried on a suit. That was the other thing I did when I was running errands. I rented a suit for a wedding in Tucson. Ooh. And I went to an Army surplus store, and Cammy got a jacket for $5. That's pretty nice. So we were just bargain hunting, I guess. Except for the suit, which is not a bargain. It's actually expensive. But
yeah. Whatever. All right, yeah, suits are expensive.
How about you, Blaine? What do you got going
on? I'm playing a show Friday, so been getting ready for that. It's kind of a last minute one and a short set, but it'll be fun. Haven't played a show yet this year, so my goal is 25. So this will be one down. I think I have 7 booked so far on the year. So
yeah, you're kind of behind schedule here. You need to be at 4.
But here's the thing is like it's easier to book shows in like the spring and summer.
Why?
Because it's nice outside and people want like bands playing outside and stuff, and so like you can kind of book a.
People don't want to be outside in the dead of winter. Has this ever been discussed on this show?
I don't think so, man. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like, it's easy to do like a little acoustic set here, little 45-minute band set there. And we had a bar reach out to us last year to play a show. We ended up not being able to do it, but like it was going to be $1,000. It was like, it was 3 hours, but we're like, dude, that we can jam for 3 hours. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm in an annoying situation right now where I have like 7 seconds of a song stuck in my head, but I don't like the rest of the song. Like I like 7 seconds out of a 3-minute or 4-minute song.
Which song is
driving me crazy? It's a Stroke song. It's Brooklyn Bridge to the chorus. There's like,
I nerd it.
It's not that good of a song, I don't think. It's kind of corny, but there's like one part that is stuck in my head and I think is good, and they should just build the whole song out of that on a loop. It's the part that says, and the 80s songs, where did they go? When they said these were the beginning of the best years, even though, or something like that. That part is good, and then it doesn't stay that good. And now I'm like, I wish I could listen to this song fully and enjoy it. But no, I just have these 7 seconds that I just have listened to about a million times.
I'm going to give you 2 hot takes on music, Theo. The first is,
sure,
I think a lot of the Strokes music is boring. The second is that I don't love 80s music, like comparative to like other decades. Like 70s is my favorite era. 90s is probably my second favorite era. 2010s is probably my third. Then 60s. Actually, no, 60s, then 2010s. Like, it's just like every other era, and then like 80s, I feel like ends up being last. I don't know.
I like the 80s. I like
the 80s. Great song. Calvin Harris.
There are some 80s songs and 80s records that I like. I mean, my favorite guitar player of all time is Gary Moore, and most of his hits came out in the 80s, so.
Yeah, I like the 80s a lot, actually. I like Gary Newman. I like New Wave. When was like New Order really active? Was that the 80s? That was formed in 1980. So like, shout out New Order. Yeah, I can't agree. I think the 80s kind of went hard with the like clubby synth type stuff.
I'm just not I just don't love like synth pop and like all that. And it's probably why I'm not the biggest like Charlie XCX fan, because I feel like she has a lot of she has a lot of influence in that. But I love that
She does.
Magdalena Bay record, which I feel like dabbles in there too. So I don't know. It could just be like a way the production is used, but
I don't know. I mean, it's fun. It's fine to think. I don't know what I think the like worst decade is. I feel like
it's kind of like saying like regions for cuisine or stuff like that, where it's like, well, what's your least favorite? Yeah, it's tough to pin down one that doesn't offer anything. Right?
I see. That's the thing, is like the only reason that I can pin this down is because I'm just like, I list out like I'm thinking about my, like, what are my favorite records of all time? And like, 10 of them are from the 70s. Like, okay, that's my favorite era of music, clearly. So, and then after that, I just like, it's like, then there's 5 in the 90s and there's like 3 or 4 in the 2010s. And so, and then like arguably the greatest record of all time, Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, is 1966. So, yeah. Beatles were 60s.
Joy Division just missed the 80s. They're late 70s. Damn.
So I don't know. But that's my hot take. It's like I don't love the 80s and I don't love the Strokes. But the Strokes have some okay songs. But
Unknown Pleasure was April 1979. So that might count as a sound of the 80s. And that would probably crack my top 10 records.
I would say it's when it would have been up for any of the awards, if it won any.
I don't know if it won any awards.
But like, if it
whatever, it doesn't matter.
Like the 79 Academy Awards as opposed to the 80, then to me that's a 70s song. But even if it came out in 78, if it was up for an award in the 80s, I think that's an 80s song. So.
Yeah, and it definitely shaped the 80s if it came out in 1979 and was like, everybody knows that album, or at least the album cover.
Yeah, but I think that's a fair assessment. But should we get into the quarterbacks?
No,
yes, and I have something to say.
We should start talking about 80s music still.
Theo, what's your favorite 80s album of all? Matt, what's your favorite 80s album of all time?
I can't say I know.
Yeah, no. But what's your question, Matt?
Not a question. I just have something to say.
Oh, okay.
So the big thing that I'm looking at with this is we're going through all of the teams that are probably going to make a change at quarterback, or maybe just don't have their quarterback currently set for next season. Is like, who's going to be the starter? Is like, how many guys do we expect to be drafted and to be like kind of the plan at QB? Because some teams might draft the guy and then, it could end up being that like later down the line they get a real shot, but it's not this year. Or maybe that like you bring in someone and then give them a shot the last couple of games. So the question is like, how many dudes are going to be taken sort of with a premium draft pick, right?
It's going to be one. One.
I think the answer absolutely could be more than one, but it's not going to be many. Right. I think it's tough to say that Ty Simpson isn't being looked at as a potential first rounder right now.
That's true.
He might disagree with it, but he's being looked at like that. In terms of the consensus board, there's only one other guy who's even top 100, and that's Garrett Nussmeier at 72 as of the recording of this. Now, what I started wondering is, okay, if you're not taken in the first couple of rounds as a quarterback, you're kind of a non-premium pick. I would say third round for QB is non-premium territory just because of how valued the position is, right?
Sure.
So the question is, how often is it that a quarterback is taken with a non-premium third or later pick and legitimately gets a shot year one, is legitimately that team's plan? So I went back and looked over the last 10 years. By my count, there have been 74 total QBs taken past the second round. 47 didn't see a start in year one. 9 of them started 5+ games, and only one of them started week 1, which was Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Right. The other 8 who did, it's Gabriel and Sanders both got more than 5 total starts. Yeah. Spencer Rattler, Aiden O'Connell, Davis Mills, Gardner Minshew, CJ Beathard, and Cody Kessler.
Oh, hell yeah. Cody Kessler, man.
When is this?
Some of those guys were like, this is the last 10 drafts. So the 2016 draft to the 2025 draft that I'm looking at. And there's a number of guys here who maybe saw a handful at the end of the season, but we're looking at like, what is the game plan rolling into the year? I will say, I do think those numbers are a little skewed by the fact that many quarterbacks drafted, especially on day 3, go to teams that already have good QBs, right? So there's no pathway to them being a starter. But I would say in general, we can expect about one non-premium quarterback to get a real chance. But even then, many of those might only get like a 5-game stretch or whatever and aren't like the full game plan going into the year. So the way that I'm looking at it, there's probably only going to be a couple drafted guys, and it's mostly going to be teams trying to address it either through trade or free agency.
Yeah, I think we can just start with Mendoza to the Raiders and kind of just cross that off because
I agree.
It seems like that's going to be the plan. I mean, we just did our mock draft episode, so we don't need to spend too much time on it. Number 2 overall is the Jets. And then, all eyes turn to Ty Simpson. But I think it's possible that a team likes him. And if the Jets don't take him at 2, they could take him at 16. But I just don't see it happening. I mean, even like a Bo Nix a couple years ago, right? Kind of a shocking pick, somewhat early in the first round or in the middle of the first round when he was considered a second-round talent. I mean, Bo Nix is a pretty phenomenal athlete with a ton of starting experience in college and a ton of production, like unbelievable stats and efficiency, right? And yet still, people looked at him and raised their eyebrows for some reasons on film, for some weaknesses, footwork, arm talent, whatever it is. Ty Simpson just doesn't have any of those things. Like, he doesn't have experience. He hasn't won much. He doesn't have fantastic numbers, and he doesn't have fantastic tape. So if Nix is like a whoa pick at pick number 16, like Ty Simpson is like a jaw-dropping pick at number 16, I think, and a plan for a franchise quarterback. Like, again, Alabama would like to have let him go. He wasn't good enough to start at Alabama next year without being pushed. He's going to start for the New York Jets. He's going to start for an NFL team. Like,
he wasn't good enough to start over Milroe.
No, he wasn't good enough to start over Milroe. He wasn't. I mean, yeah, maybe there's some politics there with, the older guy, and you'll have Ty next year. But I mean, I think that we saw it, that Jalen Milroe's speed is a bigger field tilter than anything Ty Simpson brings to the table. Like,
yes,
he wasn't good enough to start over Ty Simpson. If they could sign one of those guys back, Alabama, they'd probably go with Milroe. But Ty Simpson is an option, but I don't really view him as a serious roll into week 1 as your starter option, if we're filling that out.
I agree.
I think Milroe was like not great at Alabama.
No, but neither
was Ty Simpson.
Simpson was better. Guys.
Like, better at what?
Guys. Dude, Milroe had like he threw like 16 touchdowns, 11 picks. Come on. Okay. Milroe, fast. Outside of that, what?
He had a bigger arm.
Like Ty Simpson, what? Just generally, not even the fast part.
Guys, I really think you're underselling Simpson. You're just saying that all of the hype around him, like all of the rumors that he's going to go like relatively high, are just completely fabricated.
Yes.
Well, it's not that I don't think they're fabricated. I just
I mean, what rumors? Like, he's number 40 on Daniel Jeremiah's big board. Like, that puts him outside of the first. That's
going to start week 1 high. How good was Tyler Shuck in college? Not that great.
Week 1.
No, but he got a real shot pretty early and was taken 40. If Ty Simpson goes 40, that's a team's plan at quarterback, regardless of whether or not they sign another dude and let him start for 6 games or whatever. I just disagree with this, like completely writing off like that a team is going to take a shot on Ty Simpson.
Dude, he's terrible, bro. Like, he's terrible.
I don't know, man. I think writing off that a team is going to take a real shot at Ty Simpson is kind of crazy right now.
I think a team could, but
I mean, would it be the Jets at 16? You think, like, is that who you have written down for them? Jets?
No, I thought I have the Browns written down for them, quite frankly.
That's
like second round.
The Browns would do.
There's multiple opportunities for them to do it.
Yeah. Especially, you know, there's rumors the Browns could be making a trade for either Olave or Marvin Harrison Jr. They could go Fano at 6. Ty Simpson at 24 doesn't sound out of the realm of possibilities. It's not what I would do, but it's definitely.
I think it's completely within the realm of possibility for him. Truly. I think when you're Cleveland, you look at your other options. First off, last year, you already kind of spent the season like not really pushing any major, we're going to go get a quarterback buttons. And your offense was completely unworkable because of it. Even with the defensive player of the year having an ungodly season, you just had absolutely no chance. That wasn't just because of quarterback, of course, but it's part of it. They have a lot of things to solve on offense, and they have very little money to do it because of Deshaun Watson. So that makes it tougher for them to go out and get guys in free agency, both because, like, Malik Willis, who is obviously like the big prize right now, is going to be expensive, reportedly like $30 million a year expensive, and because they're one of, if not the least attractive destination in free agency by far, because it's specifically their wide receivers and their offensive line that are such an issue right now. And it's just hard to completely trust them to build that up. They could do it, but it's hard to trust them to build that up if you're a free agent, right? I think they've also already kind of expended, and not necessarily they can't do it again, but they've already tried to like take multiple shots in the draft at a quarterback. It wouldn't totally shock me if they said this is sort of the pro analytics move. And like, you know, you're just supposed to like kind of keep giving it a chance and hope you land on something, even though it's a long shot. Like, I know that's what analytics people like. And I think it's a fine thing to do, although we can disagree about who they value there or whatever. Yeah. But it wouldn't shock me if they said, we don't really like Simpson and nobody else is worth more than the third rounder, so we're going to roll that back or run that back. But maybe that would kind of be like, I don't know. It'd be a lot of young quarterbacks very, very quickly. If there's a
Could
team
you see
that's
them taking
going to
2
have
again?
It's not impossible. I don't think it would be very messy because it means somebody's not on the team next year for sure. And
they've already said Watson and Sanders are going to be competing for that.
So there's a chance that they could go a little bit more passive and say, I don't know, Aller or Nussmeier or whoever. And we're going to start Watson and see how that goes. And then we're going to have multiple young guys to turn to. But if there was a team that was going to say like, hey, we kind of got to make our move at quarterback and talk themselves into a Ty Simpson, it would be Cleveland more than anybody. It really feels like they've got to find a guy at QB who is cheap. If they go sign someone, are they going to spend $100 million at quarterback to be like, I mean, probably bad? I don't know, man. That's tough. That's really, really tough. So
I agree.
I have them taking Simpson, but obviously, like trying to predict this, there's so many things that could happen. You know, we're just trying to come up with one reasonable scenario. But yeah, I wrote down Simpson for him.
Yeah, I agree. There's not a quarterback in free agency that you look at and they're like, oh, would they want to come to Cleveland? No, I mean, not one. Outside of like maybe Flacco.
You could get like Marcus Mariota or Russell Wilson or like, you know, it depends on how far down you want to go. And there's guys that they could trade for, which would be interesting. But I don't know.
It's
I think they go draft.
Would you trade for Richardson with the eye injury, not knowing how bad that is still?
Assuming that the eye injury is going to be okay for next season, I guess we don't know, but obviously you wouldn't trade for him if it wasn't. Richardson would be tough because you'd be putting him in against such a bad situation. Richardson feels more like we already have a quarterback and we're going to trade for somebody guy, like a Rams or something like that, or whoever you want to put out there who has, you know, like an older quarterback who you could take on a young guy and it not be offensive, right? Sure. I don't know, maybe the Cowboys because they love to do that type of thing, right? Or whoever. The other options like Mac Jones, I think Mac Jones and the Browns offense doesn't exactly get me excited. Tanner McKee is somebody who I think is like pretty premium backup territory, but if I'm not mistaken, he's only got one more year left on his deal. And with McKee, I think he's good, but like the creation ability is not super high. No. So I think with those moves, you have to ask yourself, like, what is the upside? The 1 year rental guys who are kind of like limited, you know, in terms of what they can give you physically. Even if you're right and they have a good year, then you're stuck paying them. And I'm sure there's a lot of, you know, teams that would be happy to be paying somebody they feel like is just capable and can hang around in the offense. But I don't know. I'm a little bit lower on those trade candidates. When I see like, I think if a McKee deal that was going to happen was super big, I would have done it last season, like before he got hurt or whatever. Not now with 1 year. It really does lower the value on that for me. But we'll see.
Yeah. If I was the Browns owner, I'd just stick with Shedeur. Like, Shedeur is kind of this cheat code where, like, man, we can be as bad as any team in the league and still get butts in seats. Shedeur is like one of the most premium assets in football from a money standpoint.
Yeah. He's like Manziel, but without the drugs and alcohol. And
right. He can. I think I would just stick with Shedeur, honestly. And like, I get that Shedeur is terrible last year, like absolutely terrible, and made so many ill-advised throws and fumbled and did all these things. But I'm just worried that the Browns offense is so half baked that I just wouldn't want to spend a premium pick on Ty Simpson at all. Like, maybe you trade that pick for Waddle.
How much longer does Barry have though? He can just totally.
Ty Simpson's just not solving his problem. Like,
going Shedeur is just, well, there's a lot of guys out. There's more coaches that need to find a solution at quarterback than there are solutions at QB. I'm not arguing that Simpson is going to be great for the Browns. I'm arguing that I think somebody's going to take a shot on him. That's how it looks like right now. There's talks that they're taking a good look at guys like Willis and Simpson. Reports from Browns beat writers and whatnot. Right? I just think, look, maybe you're right, and every team comes to the conclusion that he's not that great. But honestly, I kind of think typically things move in the other direction and quarterbacks go higher than they're reported, not lower. Now, the Jets at 2 is one thing, but there's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback, and I mean, guys can go. We've
seen a lot of guys get hyped and then free fall, though. Like,
sure.
Like, I don't know what's going to happen with Simpson. Is it going to be a Bo Nix situation where I don't know. And then boom, he's a franchise quarterback taken in the top 20. Or is it a Malik Willis situation where it's he could go 2, but he could go top 10. And then it's, he's a third rounder. Or Matt Corral, like he could go in the first round. He's a third rounder, or anybody from that class. Or Shuck. Like, Shuck didn't go in the first round last year. He was a big riser. I just don't know. I just think with Simpson, like, he started the year off in the FSU game. It was bad. They lost. And then he pulled it together for a couple weeks. Everybody got really excited about him. And then he really fell off at the end of the year. And so you're going off a sample size of like a precious few decent games. And I just disagree with the way Simpson is always talked about, because people are always like, he started really so strong. But unless you count week 1, then he didn't start strong there. And then just starting strong doesn't really matter, because like when the chips were down and the pressure was high, like he didn't hold up his end of the bargain. And for me, like even the games he was supposedly so strong in, like the Georgia game and the South Carolina game, like I didn't think he looked that strong. And then he ended up falling off. And it's like, yeah, I'm not surprised to see that. Like, he was misvalued. And then I feel like since the season has ended, people have done these hijinks in their head of like, he was playing hurt, that's why he fell off. He was injured. Things were just kind of off the rails as a program. That's why. It's like, no, man, Simpson's small and without good pocket presence, and that's why, and it isn't accurate and sailed a bunch of really easy throws that anybody should be able to hit. Yeah, so well, I just with him, he might be a serious option, and I don't think that shouting him out to the Browns is a bad take or something that's outside the realm of possibility. It's just, for me, I've got issues with Simpson as a franchise quarterback. And like you said, Matt, when someone gets taken in kind of these middle rounds, it's not often they end up doing anything really serious or being a week one starter. So Simpson certainly
being the plan for year one is really what I'm looking at there.
And if you're Barry and you're like, man, I might not make it unless we start winning some games, like Ty Simpson is not the guy to win you 10 games year one. Like, I feel like if you're doing that, it's, let me win the bidding war for Malik Willis. Like, let me win that bidding war, and then we've got a chance. Or
I don't
something
think
like
Willis
that.
would want to come to Cleveland.
No, Willis would be insane, and the Browns.
It would be the Deshaun Watson story of like, why would I go to Cleveland? Oh, you're giving me $45 million a year, and everybody else is giving me $29.
$100 million to quarterback. I really just don't think that's. I say that, and then who knows what happens. I probably would have said you can't, go fully guaranteed for Watson or something like that. I feel where you're coming from 100%. I will say, if Simpson goes in the third round, he really should not have come out. It makes me feel like he has some intel that he can go higher than that. Yeah. The fact that he's here in the draft, but we'll see. Who did you have for the Browns?
Shedeur.
Okay, so you had Shedeur.
Like I don't see a lot of free agents, and maybe they bring somebody else in, but
I guess maybe it's Watson. Maybe it's they're gonna like see what they've got in Watson, and maybe they draft a guy. I could see that going down where they're like, we just want to keep taking shots. And honestly, kind of a good year to take a late third, early fourth shot. And a lot of guys who underperformed, but I think have a certain level of talent around.
For sure. I definitely think there's going to be somebody else in that room, no doubt about it. But I mean, if you wanted the kind of stopgap starter guy, well, they traded Flacco away. And if you want to draft somebody, it's like, well, where are you going to draft him? Are you going to draft him in the first round, the second round? Because to me, there's just so many other needs and just so few other premium quarterback prospects. So like, just kind of process of elimination. It's like, well, I guess it's Shedeur. And then, maybe someone like, Taylon Green is here in round 5. Like, let's see what that looks like. What is Carson Beck have for us? Maybe he's a little bit more steady than Shedeur and doesn't turn it over all the time. But is he going to be the week one starter? I don't know. So I don't think Simpson's a bad shout because he's the one who could hypothetically do that. But like, it might take a pick a little bit too premium that the Browns just can't afford, because their entire offensive line might walk out the door, and there is going to walk out the door.
There's no.
And I might just want to take an offensive lineman, because if you serve someone bread that's still dough, like, they're going to get sick. And if you serve up an offense that has no offensive lineman and Ty Simpson, it's not a finished product. I feel like you just got to get some NFL rosterable guys out there. And you might need your second round pick for
Browns are looking
someone.
At no warm bodies on their offensive line outside of DeJuan Jones. I would go. They're gonna go in there with Watson and Shedeur. Those guys are gonna be possibilities. I'm also thinking Tyler Huntley could end up getting signed at some point by them, just because the Ravens connection. And then, I think they'll probably draft a guy like Aller or Nussmeier would kind of be the guys I would look at.
Hayden, whoever, any of those guys. Yeah, it's hard to know who they would particularly be going after. Who did you guys have for the Jets?
Dude, the Jets is like, the Jets might be a worse situation. No, they're not a worse situation than the Browns, but it's still a pretty bad situation. Let me go.
Not a worse situation.
Not a worse situation than the Browns, but it's still a pretty bad one.
They're in a better situation than the Browns because they actually have an offensive line and they have more draft capital. So if there's going to be a Simpson team, I could see it being maybe the Jets, making a little bit more sense than the Browns. But I would probably go for him on day 2 if you have a day 2 grade on him. If you sort of kind of like him, I feel like Jets top of the second round makes a little bit of sense. But even at 16, I would think it's a huge reach. But like, okay, fine, whatever. You're going for the quarterback. I can sort of understand it. And yeah, I just think that they would be dropping him in a scenario that is just a little bit more workable than what the Browns are. Like the Browns,
at least you have Garrett Wilson. At least you
have a run game. Like at least you're protected. Like, oh, I'm not going to take 70 sacks this year if I'm on the Jets, maybe. Right. And I don't know if you're going to feel that way about the Browns.
Yeah, the Jets are interesting.
Yeah.
They have, first off, they're a way better situation than the Browns.
They are.
For a quarterback, it's not even remotely close. They just have a better offensive line. I'd take Garrett Wilson over any of the Browns receivers, and they have a ton of money. They have $80 million. They're not down $40 million or whatever the hell the Browns are at. So I'd much rather be New York if I was a quarterback. But they're also a little interesting because it's like Glenn is clearly on the hot seat as much as anybody. I mean, there were talks about him getting fired after year 1. And I don't know if the fact that like things are, he's got to show some progress here is going to really play too much into their quarterback decision. But it does feel like he would be pushing to get somebody who can make an impact right now. Now, that could be, drafting a guy high if that's who they believe in and taking a shot. But if you're the Jets, you almost feel like this isn't our year at quarterback, but we kind of sold out. We're probably going to be pretty bad again next year. One of the few teams it's like not impossible that we're better, but like if we were bad again next year and it was like, hey, we're taking this extra draft capital or whatever, and we're going to go try to make a play for QB and a class that like allows us to almost, it wouldn't be shocking. So is there a move that you can find here that both like gives Glenn a chance and gives the offense a chance to get itself out of the basement, while also like leaving open the possibility of them being like one of the big 2027 draft quarterback teams, but not necessarily like totally planning for that because you never really know how good any individual draft class is going to be? The guy who I thought made sense overall for that was trading for Kyler. If you trade for Kyler, you don't take on a bunch of guaranteed money, or you don't necessarily have to, right? Frankly, I think Kyler would be incredibly cheap to trade for right now. I don't think it would cost more than a 3rd round pick just because of how much he costs. And you have a bunch of money to take him on. Kyler has his flaws, but if he's certainly more of a playmaker than a lot of the other guys that you've had for a long time. You get him and you make a big play at a wide receiver, either at 2 or 16 or maybe in free agency, and you feel good about your offense. Like, you can see how that offense has way more juice than anything that the Jets have had recently, right? And if it doesn't work out, okay, it's easy to move on. You're not super stuck there for a long time. The only thing that really gives me pause, and it really gives me pause, you know who the offensive coordinator for the Jets is?
Who is it?
Frank Reich. If he wanted Stroud, got Bryce, got fired year 1 because of Bryce, comes back to the Jets and then gets another small quarterback, which is not his style, not what he wants, that would be a pretty brutal break. But it might be one of the more talented guys that you could get this offseason. So there's another chance that they could be a team that makes a big run at Malik Willis. I think they're like one on the short list of teams where I'm like, that's a Willis spot. Are the Jets. If they make one player for a receiver, and you got to sit there and say like, all right, that's pretty good. But I don't know. I think Kyler can make sense as a higher upside win now investment that doesn't really lock you down or prevent you from looking at the future in 27 if you don't like any of your draft options this year.
You know who's big and tall?
Who?
Richardson. Get him. Look, you're the Jets. He's Anthony Richardson. Why don't you guys meet at the bottom? Somebody who's on your level. The Jets look for someone who can save them. They want a top 3 pick. They want Aaron freaking Rodgers, a Hall of Famer. And they want someone who's leagues above them, and they want those guys to carry them to where those quarterbacks are at. But guess what? All you end up doing is dragging them down. Maybe they need to meet with somebody who's just as low as they are, and only then can they ascend to the top together. All right, stop trying to go for the Kylers of the world and the Rodgerses of the world and, you know, the top 5 elite prospects of the world, and start getting some real duds in there. And then together you'll figure it out. You know, for me to ascend in sports journalism, Bill Simmons ain't coming down from the heavens and giving me his podcast. We got to get it out of the mud with Jokic, Joe Star, and Nerd Sesh, right? We got to get with people on our level, and then we all got to go up together.
Jack and Carson that you called them,
right? We need Anthony and elite takes to like us. All right, that's who we need.
Telling Jack, Nico, Carson, and Anthony that you compared all of them to an Anthony Richardson level podcast.
You call stay out the Jets.
We're toolsy, bro. We're toolsy.
We're raw, bro.
We're raw. And all we got is each other. All right.
We're physical, man. I like that. I actually think that's good for the same reasons that I think Kyler is good, where it's like there's upside, but it's not a big investment. And you could pair that with like whichever vet you like and then roll into 26 and say, we're giving ourselves a shot. And if not, like, we're going to make our play for 27. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's, sure. I think that can make sense.
And what is the difference? Here's one more Ty Simpson thought. What is the difference between Ty Simpson and Cade Klubnik outside of Simpson pulling the plug earlier? Like, Simpson was circling that drain of like, I'm transferring from Bama and I'm at Miami, and then after Miami I'm here. Like, or Carson Beck. What's the difference between Ty Simpson and Carson Beck outside of the fact that Simpson, you know, is striking while the iron's a little bit oranger and glowing a little bit more? Like, it's clear the college player trajectory.
There was potential for Simpson to go back and his stock to fall apart, and maybe that's part of his thinking of coming into the draft for sure. I can see your vision on that.
So like, why is he really different than Beck, who played in the championship? All right, like, because he was getting hyped by draft analysts. That's why. So give me Richardson, man. Go watch his game against the Broncos, or maybe the Jets themselves. Maybe they remember that game after he got benched. He returned and he played the Jets, and the Jets were playing a lot of cover one, and Richardson was really ripping them against those coverages. Like, they were spying him, keeping guys down, their linebackers way down, and just kind of taking him out of the coverage. And against those looks, I mean, he was hitting digs, he was scrambling, he came back and looked, that may be the best game of his career was against New York. So maybe they saw that, and I guess it's a lot of different personnel even now. But you know, maybe there's some people who remember that and say like, hey, there was something in there. Look at Darnold. We quit on him. We ignored the good traits that were there even when things were at their worst. I think if there is a Darnold in this league right now, it is Anthony Richardson.
We know.
Yeah, well,
we know.
The Jets just aren't the Seahawks. Like, the nice thing about Darnold is that he bounces around and, there's Justin Jefferson.
Right.
There's Minnesota and Brian Flores. Like, that's when he can start to
But here's the thing, right? Is you're trying to become Anthony Richardson's Minnesota right now, not his Seattle. What you need to find is someone who you can be their Seattle for to some extent. And I think it could be the other Colts quarterback, Daniel Jones. You know, he's coming off a big injury, yeah, but like, if you're thinking about it, you're like, if anything, that could drive the price down a little bit.
Yeah,
we might be able to get a decent bargain to pull him away from Indianapolis. And I think that would be another, again, big, tall, athletic quarterback, good arm that could open up your offense a little bit more. So Daniel Jones is someone that intrigues me. Kenny Pickett, if you wanted to go a little bit, he's not that
He's
much
not
younger.
a starter. Jones, I can see because look, Jones is 28 years old. All right. 28 years old is not. There's a chance that he recovers from this injury and is not completely washed. You know, like, he can still push the ball down the field. He can still hit Garrett Wilson on a go or a dig or something. Maybe the wheels are gone because he had wheels.
Yeah.
And maybe those are gone, but those aren't necessarily the part of his game that has to translate. Like Daniel Jones without read option. Like, okay, I'm getting you mostly because you're a tall dude who did a really great job under pressure with the Colts in the beginning of last year.
Yep.
Hitting throws, beating the Broncos and condensing pockets. I could see Frank Reich appreciating that skill set a lot. I don't mind that call out.
I think he's going to be back with the Colts.
See, that feels like the most likely scenario. It does. I mean,
there's already talks about them putting together a multi-year deal. If you're the Jets, you're going to have to outbid the Colts.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like nobody's trying to get him.
And you're going to have to outbid just like the fact that Daniel Jones was like, dude, I just was cooking it up here with Shane Steichen. Why would I go play with your guys,
I think,
you know?
There's not a lot of these that I feel very confident in on like, you know, nailing it exactly. But I think the Colts, Daniel Jones is probably above a 50% chance right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, then maybe you go Willis if you're the Jets. Because I thought about Willis for the Colts too. If they leave Daniel Jones or if he signs somewhere else or if they think the injury is really bad or whatever.
Sure.
Willis is somebody who, if you paid him a lot of money, he's weird because you've got to pay him a lot of money and he's also an experiment. So like,
I think there's going to be a team that's willing to do it as long as a lot of like, it's going to come down to guaranteed money in the second year.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think Willis is an interesting shot. He is an interesting shot. I think Willis has his numbers in Green Bay last year paint like an MVP candidate. They're that good. Like literally almost a perfect passer rating in 2 games.
Yeah.
So, okay, an MVP candidate in the smallest possible sample size. But yes, in that sample size, it's hard to be more efficient than Malik Willis was. Like 12 yards an attempt or something like that with rushing upside. Like, man, if you're going to flash, that's the way to flash is him doing that. He's got really good arm talent. He's got speed.
He's very talented. And he looked good. I'm not surprised that a team is going to give him guaranteed money in the second year. I think he's worthy of a shot. It's a risk, of course, but like there's a lot of teams that are going to like do completely uninteresting, definitely won't work things at QB. I think it's a worthy risk, as much as people will probably be against it on Twitter or on TikTok and social media will say like, obviously this won't work. I actually think that it can. And there's a lot of landing spots for him. It's tough with Willis because it's like, how much does he want to go to a spot that can put him in a position to succeed versus how much does he want to go to a spot that's going to just give him the most money straight up, right?
Yeah.
Because if we talk about position to succeed, it's like, all right, you can start to make a short list pretty easily. I agree. I think the Colts would be on there if I didn't think that they were going to go Daniel Jones or whatnot. If it's money, then it's like everybody is open because you don't know, like maybe the Dolphins just like try to open up space and make that their play. But the Dolphins wouldn't be crazy high on my list of teams that I want to go to if I'm Willis.
Sure.
I had him landing with the Cardinals after they trade Murray.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we just do this and we can knock Willis out? Where does everyone have Willis going?
I have him with the Cardinals. LaFleur is there. The other LaFleur, Shanahan offense. They've got a decent amount of money. I could see them saying, like, this is the play that I want to make at quarterback. And they've got a, it not only can be a scheme that can work for Willis, but it could also be, somewhere that I think is not great in terms of their overall offensive talent, but could easily become like a better destination if, you believe in Harrison. Obviously, they have McBride. They've got a high draft pick they could spend on a weapon. I think it could turn into like a pretty solid spot over the course of an offseason. Now, of course, it's dependent on them actually getting off of Murray, I think, and maybe that doesn't happen, and that makes other places that just straight up don't have a quarterback right now and don't need to make that extra step more likely.
Right.
But in my little rundown, I said I think Arizona makes sense.
Yeah, I was thinking about Arizona, but the Kyler, I keep kind of coming back to, I think Kyler might just stay.
Definitely the most likely outcome is that he doesn't get traded.
Right.
If there was a betting market, well, I'm sure there is out there, but if there's a betting market for it, it's going to be him in Arizona is the most likely option.
I would have him going, unfortunately, to Pittsburgh. McCarthy, we've talked about like, oh, why would they bring in McCarthy if like, are they going to bring back Rodgers? That doesn't really make sense. McCarthy is like known for developing younger quarterbacks.
They might bring back Rodgers.
They might. They very well might. But I think Willis would be a more interesting option, right? Rodgers did some good things for you. He can get the ball out real quickly. And especially when you have a guy like DK who can win one-on-one on the outside so well, that gives you a lot of juice, right? But I do feel like they need ways to open up their offense. They need to they cannot do like bring in McCarthy, bring back Rodgers, and then go like 8-9. Like that would be, I think, worst case scenario for a lot of Steelers fans, where it's like you either want to get way better or you want to tank and put yourself in an optimal drafting position. Willis could at least give you some possible upside that I think you might be missing with Rodgers.
I just am not sure like that there's many teams you could not say that with, right? Like what about the Dolphins,
Sure.
What is their alternative? What about the Jets? What is their alternative to Willis? If you don't believe in any of the draftable quarterbacks, right?
Right.
I think you kind of go down the line. That's true for everybody. The read that I got on the Steelers is that like they want Rodgers back, but they don't know if he's going to be back. And it's a decision apparently that might take like several months to figure out if he's actually going to do it. Now, McCarthy is praised like Will Howard, and maybe he feels like he's in a position where he has to, and you shouldn't read into that at all. But my thought was this. They want Rodgers back legitimately, and they're preparing, says McCarthy, for the possibility that he either does or doesn't. If you were going to do that, I think the way that you would play it would be we might draft somebody kind of lower in the draft. We might take a shot on one of those guys. And that way, if Rodgers comes back, great. We'll have Rodgers. He's a vet, and we'll continue to develop like this guy we drafted and or Howard, and we'll roll for that for a season, and then we'll see where we are next year. Or he doesn't come back, and then we're just going to be kind of early into going through Rudolph and Howard and then whoever else.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's more likely that they play it that way because it allows them to make a move at the draft, or they don't even have to if they really like Howard that much. Then it allows them to make a move at a draft, and then whether or not Rodgers actually does end up coming back, they still have a direction that they can take it.
Yeah. I think I do kind of like the taking a quarterback late for them. Kind of like.
And the other thing is because McCarthy is year one, if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. So it doesn't require him to make like his big play at quarterback. Like, most coaches get the one.
How long of a leash do you think McCarthy has is the question.
Certainly more than 1 year. And it's the Steelers.
That's the thing. It's like, it's the Steelers. So like probably a decent leash, but maybe their patience is growing thin and he only has a couple of years. And I don't know.
I think everything that I thought I knew about the Steelers is out the window after the McCarthy hire, to be honest with you. Like they're just well, not everything that I thought I knew is out the window. My worst fears about them is confirmed about the McCarthy hire, where they are going to move at a glacial pace to change anything. And when Tomlin goes, instead of trying to be at the cutting edge whatsoever, they go with the old boy from Pittsburgh. He's from Pittsburgh. His dad was a cop and baby was born at the Pittsburgh hospital. And for him and his scheme, it just is very old school. It's static, it's spread, it gives the quarterback, I think, a lot of power. Pre-snap, to get a picture of the defense and change what he's looking at. So I think he would like somebody like Dak Prescott, or he would like somebody like Aaron Rodgers. Like, to me, it seems like the Steelers just want to be as safe as possible, and they actually love winning 9 games a year, and that's truly all they're shooting for. And to me, that, like, I don't think they're lying when they say that I will like Rodgers back, and for Rodgers, I think that he'd probably like to be back in Pittsburgh. Now, at the end of his time in Green Bay, I thought there was some strife between him and McCarthy, and there were kind of these leaks that he thought McCarthy was dumb and like not locked in. So maybe there's more there's more animosity there than it seems, and there's a barrier there that isn't clear right now. But for me, with the Steelers, like, yeah, I got Rodgers because they just seem to want to be that kind of team where it's like, oh, we made the playoffs last year with Rodgers. We didn't make the playoffs with Anthony Richardson. We didn't make the playoffs with Malik Willis. We didn't make the playoffs with Derek Carr, Geno Smith, or Kirk Cousins. We made the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers, so I want Aaron Rodgers.
Let's make one thing clear. Derek Carr is not an option for a team. Like, not a serious option.
Yeah. If he unretires, he might be actually an attractive option for a team, but he isn't unretired. And even worse, he just doesn't have a connection to Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett, he played at Pitt. Mike McCarthy, he's from Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers has played in Pittsburgh before. What does Derek Carr have to do with Pittsburgh? So, like, why would they sign him?
Yeah. It's so dumb, dude. But you might be right. You guys might be right. They're not.
Howard's from Pennsylvania.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they're not taking any risks and making a move for Willis.
Dude, it's so funny. I remember I kept mocking them like Porter Jr. in that draft, and it's like, because his brother played for Pittsburgh, and all the Steelers fans are like, we don't just draft people because their brothers played here. Like, stop doing this. We don't need a corner that bad. Like, stop mocking him and only saying his brother, or his father, not his brother. His father played for us. Like, it's not just a family thing. And then they took him.
Good pick, good player.
So and it was a good pick. I think it's Rodgers and young guy being Howard, or maybe a drafted guy.
I think it's like Rodgers or Rudolph. Like, I literally think it's the exact same.
Rodgers. See, that's the thing, is that they have Rudolph still, so maybe they're not going to carry 4 quarterbacks. But it'll be Rodgers, Rudolph. Maybe they draft Drew Aller, and
True, Penn State,
and then Howard.
You guys might be right, dude.
Yeah, it might not even be Rodgers. They might tell Rodgers to take a hike because Rudolph has been in Pittsburgh longer. Aller is from Penn State, and Howard is from the state. So they're like, Rodgers, your connection is looking a little thin here, and they kick him out for someone who has a deeper root in Pennsylvania.
This is so true, man.
Although, is Penn State on the right side of Pennsylvania? I don't know all the geography. One time I said that Jaguars offensive coordinator was from Pennsylvania, and the Steelers might hire him. And all the Steelers fans are like, he's not from the west side. He's from the east side.
I don't know.
So
Westchester, it says.
It's not. He's not from the right spot in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I don't know the correlation there. But before we move on, I want to talk about one of our new friends here at Stay Hot, and talk about something real for a minute: mental health. I think that's one thing that's gotten better over the last few years, is people being more open about therapy, especially for guys. There used to be this idea that you just deal with stuff on your own, but honestly, therapy is just another tool. If something's off mentally, it makes sense to talk to someone the same way you would if something was off physically. And one thing that's always stops people is how hard it is to actually get started. You hear about long wait lists, or you try to figure out insurance, and it's confusing, and a lot of people just never take that first step. That's why Rula is really interesting. That's RULA. Rula is a healthcare company that makes therapy easier to access. They connect you with licensed therapists and mental health professionals who fit what you actually need, and they work with most major insurance plans, so sessions can be really affordable. A lot of patients pay around $15 per session using insurance, which is honestly less than a lot of everyday expenses. They've got thousands of licensed providers nationwide, and you can get matched with someone who fits you instead of guessing and hope that it works out. And you can often get started quickly, sometimes as soon as the next day. If therapy is something you've thought about but keep putting off, this is the simple way to get started. Thousands of guys have already used Rula to finally get the care they needed. Don't stop putting it off. Go to rula.com/stayhot to get started today. Again, that's rula.com/stayhot. Take the first step. Get connected and take control of your mental health. And of course, got to shout out our other new sponsor, Kinsey. You know, whether if you're trying to get your wardrobe together lately, just solid pieces that work really, really well together and hold up over time, that's what Kinsey does best. Premium materials, thoughtful design, and everyday staples that are just easy to wear year round. They have a ton of essentials like organic cotton sweaters, polos that you can wear anywhere, and lighter jackets for when the weather changes, right? It's just reliable stuff that looks good without overthinking it. And what's great is they work directly with top factories and cut out the middlemen, so you're getting quality clothes without paying big brand markups, and everything's built to last and look good season after season. So if you're looking to get stuff that feels nice in a lot of other clothes that you buy, looks good, is comfortable, and worth the money, refresh your wardrobe with Kinsey. Go to kinsey.com/stayhot for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns, now available in Canada as well. That's QUINCE.com/stayhot, free shipping and 365-day returns, kinsey.com/stayhot. Let's see. We've talked about the Jets.
So there's a report Derek Carr is heavily considering coming back.
But he says only for like a contender, right?
Your dream, Blaiden. Your dream.
Future Cleveland Browns legend
Your
Derek Carr.
dream man,
he
Derek
is
Carr.
not coming to Cleveland. There is zero
I just
chance.
think the idea that there's no chance he comes back and is an option for any team, I think that's wrong.
I guess.
Good.
But I guess maybe if you're the Vikings.
Well, let's talk about the Vikings. I had them penciled down as Kirk Cousins is what they do. Feels like they're going to bring in a vet to sort of run this show and then kind of see with McCarthy.
Sure.
Is the likely game plan. Cousins has the easy connection and is incredibly likely to be cut by Atlanta, it seems, to what they've done with his contract. So I put that in, but you could convince me in a lot of directions there. A Derek Carr, taking a shot on like a Geno Smith if he gets cut, a whoever.
You have to take Geno if you're the Vikings. You absolutely must take Geno Smith if they cut him, because you cannot let the Seahawks just take your quarterback and win a Super Bowl. You got to get him back. You literally have to get him back. Like if
oh, dude,
Geno is in Las Vegas, right? Bad season, worst quarterback in the league statistically. All right, that sucks. It's not good. But there was a lot of bad pass protection. There was a lot of bad receiver play. Like truly the worst group of receivers and the worst offensive line by the end in the league, with the worst coaching in the league with Chip Kelly and their Nepo baby offensive line coach. All right, so maybe Geno has a little bit more in the tank than the numbers show because he was plopped in the worst situation in the league. Regardless, if you're the Vikings, you don't have to start him. But in case JJ McCarthy hits his hand and RFK Jr. tells him not to take the medicine and he has to sit out another game, you just can't have Brosmer being the guy who's in there, right? It's too high stakes. They could have made the playoffs this year with like another win or two. They were what? Did they finish 9-8?
They were 9-8.
Wow.
They were 9-8 with the worst quarterback play in the league. So it won't take much. They need a veteran presence in that locker room next to JJ. Right. There's no doubt about it. If JJ can't go, if he keeps getting banged up, if he keeps, being terrible under pressure, 45th out of 54 in EPA per attempt under pressure, 43rd in adjusted net yards per attempt under pressure, 50th in accuracy under pressure, right?
Yeah.
If he can't play under any kind of pressure again in 2026, look, man, Justin Jefferson is a guy who can bring you to the Super Bowl. This is not some mess around timeline for the Vikings. They've got the defense and the weapons to like win the Super Bowl right now. They could be the Seattle Seahawks. It's not that difficult to imagine with a good offseason. So there absolutely needs to be a veteran in there, and it might as well be Geno, because you just can't let the Seahawks get off like run your pockets like this. So they need Geno Smith. That's who I would take.
I'll give you three options. The first is, Matt, I do like Kirk Cousins, but Mariota is number one. Would be a solid veteran presence. We've seen him play some good football, right? That game against Denver was absolutely heart and soul. Give me Aaron Rodgers, because he has to complete his Brett Favre journey, and he has not played in Minnesota yet.
Sure.
And then Daniel Jones is another name that I know I've already thrown out for another team, but this is another landing spot I was thinking for Daniel Jones, except the only problem is they have the least cap space in the NFL. And I don't think they have any chance of actually pulling off the deal necessary. But I just thought I was like, dude, if they wanted to be like this year's Seattle, like that's the guy to go get, I think. But Rodgers and Mariota are like the true vets to me. That kind of makes sense there.
The thing about Geno though is he's and Cousins to some extent is like they've actually had good seasons somewhat recently. Like Geno 2024 wasn't that bad, and then Geno 2023 and 2022 was like legitimately really pretty good. I think the Seahawks offense was above average in those 2 years. Their passing offense was above average in those 2 years. So like at some point in the last couple of years, you've seen like Geno actually bring you to some results. You've seen him bring you to the playoffs in a way like Mariota's. We haven't seen that since like 2016 for Marcus Mariota. Yeah. We haven't. So like that's sure. Why Geno, you might feel like there's a little bit of meat left on the bone of like, look, it wasn't that long ago that he was a half decent quarterback and the Raiders were the worst situation in the league. I think no doubt Geno has fallen off some. I don't think he was as twitchy in tight situations at all last year. I think his load to release time has lost a couple of milliseconds. I think he's a little bit just stiffer across the board. And I can't explain some of the decisions that he made last year at all.
Right.
So I do think that Geno is circling the drain to some extent. But I also think like you watch some of the tape and it's like, man, these receivers are just not at their landmarks, man. Like they're not. And Chip Kelly is like it's just a non-workable situation.
It was bad.
Ashton Genty is a great player. He's a great player. You can see it in the way that he moves that he's going to be great someday. I feel confident that he's a great player. We saw it in college. He's a great player. What is the least efficient running back in the league? This is a great player. He's looking like the worst guy in the league statistically. So with Geno, like, yeah, he's the worst guy in the league statistically, but can he be a mid player? And, like if a great player can look so bad in that situation, why can't a mid player be mid somewhere else, like with the Vikings? But sure. Cousins too, there's familiarity there. I mean, he looked half decent with the Falcons. Like it wasn't that bad. Yeah. I think he's probably more washed than even Geno is, but
yeah.
His numbers weren't as bad.
Is easy. I think it's easy to project that, but there's other options for sure that I think fall into that category. And in general, if there's a team where it's like 30th best quarterback play could make such a big difference for us, or like that type of stuff, it's the Vikings for sure.
And Geno, he's not a free agent, is he?
No,
they'd have to cut him.
There's a chance that they don't, because they'd only save so much money depending on the type of cut. So they're like, maybe they say we're just going to have a really expensive backup. But who knows? Maybe Geno's like, I don't want to do this. Can you release me if I can go start somewhere else?
Right.
For sure, especially if Minnesota, if he was able to put some feelers out and find that. But I mean, JJ will be on the roster. I think it's just there needs to be some sort of backup plan that was different.
You're not cutting McCarthy and like who would trade for him. I mean, I'm sure you could for like a low pick, but like no one. I don't know if anyone, or I don't know if the Vikings would want to do that at that point. Matt, who does that bring us to next?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Probably just Penix. I mean, Penix is on the ropes to some extent, right? Like, and Stefanski's not committing to Penix. Like when asked, he's not like, oh, Penix is our guy. He says, I'm not a big fan of handing out jobs in the offseason. Is what he says when they ask him about Penix. Like, so Penix is going to have to earn the job, right? That's not what you would say if someone asked, is Caleb Williams going to be the starter for the Bears next year?
Right.
Is Jaden Daniels going to be the starter for the Commanders next year? Like, that's not Penix, obviously.
So the way that I view Atlanta, I mean, they've said like we want to be aggressive, or there's been like they're going to be aggressive going for a quarterback. Which maybe they're a team that goes and spends for Willis. I would be very interested. I would be very interested in Atlanta if I were Willis. That would be one of my higher options for sure. But I also think that teams can say that oftentimes and then sort of chicken out a little bit. My thought is Penix absolutely is on the hot seat. He's also coming off an injury. He probably gets one more year to like show us something. And if not, we're moving on. So I think it's going to be kind of like a bridge and then move into Penix for the back part of the season or whatever, and then going from there. And I think that bridge could end up being like a Flacco or something. So I had Joe Flacco written down because of the connection to Stefanski.
Yeah, I think Flacco makes a lot of sense as a guy to bring in just to be the backup there to kind of replace Cousins, right? If Cousins does end up getting cut.
Cousins is very likely going to get cut, like it's a virtual guarantee.
Yeah, he's definitely more likely than Geno. Yeah, I could see Malik Willis here, though. I really could. If you really wanted to go for something, he might be more interesting to me than Penix at this point, because Penix, I just think that there's so much stiffness there and so much struggle against pressure and so much inaccuracy as kind of a result of that stiffness as well. He's just...
It's been rough.
It's been rough. There hasn't been a long, sustained period of time where it's like, oh, he's really showing us something, and he's coming off another torn ACL, which is what, his third major knee injury. With Willis, like I said, I think Willis really did look pretty great on tape for the Green Bay Packers last year. Like, he hardly missed a throw accuracy wise, was pretty much on the money throughout. Probably a little sensitive to the pressure that was bearing down on him, but looked good escaping it, and has a hell of an arm. I mean, he makes plays. He had a touchdown versus New York where he rolled out and it was a flood concept, and Christian Watson stopped at like the goalpost, and Willis like threw it across his body to his back shoulder on the other side of the goalpost while rolling right and getting crunched. He had that throw. The throw where he doubled back and then stepped up against Baltimore was pretty fantastic. The seam route that he hit to Christian Watson, like him in London and Pitts and all that, I think the weapons are there and the defense might be there where it's like, yeah, I can actually win a division here. I can actually, win a playoff game here. And they have money to sign me. I don't know. I have a winnable job here. Like, I can really see it. I think he's someone, if there is a flaw in him on tape, it's that he doesn't go after the middle of the field. He is one of those shorter, mobile guys who can start and stop really quick and is a dynamic athlete, but just, I think, has issues getting to certain reads because there's just somebody in his way. So he prefers to get to the sideline, it seems to me, to a huge extent. So LaFleur kind of had to change his offense for him. I think Stefanski, with all the play action that he likes doing and the 12 personnel with using Pitts as a receiver, fits him honestly maybe a little bit better than someone from purely the Shanahan scheme that likes the full field progressions and like getting to that backside dig as much as possible. Kind of those deeper attacking play action things where he can kind of launch it instead of layer it. And get to the outside. I think it could work for him. They called a lot of play action in that Bears game, and he had a lot of success.
Yeah, I do like Mac Jones though. As like he's a Shanahan guy that kind of fits that kind of scheme more. But I do think he could work pretty well in Atlanta if they wanted to trade for him.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, well, they'd sign him. They'd have to sign him.
Jones has another year they'd have to trade for him.
Oh, Mac. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, not Daniel Jones, Mac Jones. I thought I said the full name.
I'm not in on Mac Jones as like your starting option though. Like
maybe not, but Mac Jones to me is more safety relief. Like I kind of am of the opinion that they're not going to be super aggressive at quarterback this year, just because number one, they don't have a ton of money to work with, which maybe they'll get some more once Cousins is freed up, right? So that'll help out a little bit. But then like trying to do like new coach, new quarterback the same offseason might just be a lot. I don't know. So I could see them playing this a little bit more safe. And
I think you could. I don't think you have to.
Yeah, new coach, new quarterback. I mean, new coach is.
You had Willis going to the Steelers.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like new coach, new quarterback. Like for any quarterback, they've got to learn a new scheme. Like if it's a free agent quarterback, it honestly might be a little bit better for you in certain ways. Coaches don't like when they're married to somebody who's on a different timeline than them. Like, especially when it's a GM. That's why Liam Cohen left, is like, I want my guy as GM.
Yeah.
And I think they also probably want like somebody they had input in at quarterback. Now, maybe they have input and they say, this guy's got potential. Let's keep it the same. And that's their input.
Yeah.
But maybe their input is like, that last organization made a mistake. I want a new guy.
Yeah.
I think
he's trying to build the Browns in Atlanta. So so it's Flacco then.
Yeah, I've got Flacco, but it could be a lot of different guys.
Yeah. So before we get into, I guess Miami would be the next team that we haven't really talked about. Theo, would you like to tell us about our good friends over at Square?
Yes, support for today's episode comes from Square, and they've got big news. During Square's biannual releases event, they launched a wave of innovative new tools to help local businesses run faster, smarter, and more profitably. From AI that answers your toughest business questions to tech that simplifies food orders and tracks every dollar, it's all live, and it's built for businesses like yours. Whether you're starting fresh or scaling fast, Square helps you keep up and get ahead. And right now, listeners can get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/stay-hot. That's SQUARE.com/go/stay-hot. Stay hot, one word. Visit Square to get started because the right tools make all the difference. My favorite coffee shop here in Denver, Rooster Cat, I know they're on Square and they run a tight ship over there. They've never messed anything up. They're still in business. That's probably the main thing that you're interested in as a small business or owner, is staying in business. And I've seen a lot of places open and close very quickly around here, but Rooster Cat stays, and I know that they're on Square, and it must help. It must help them.
All those other places that open and close, they're probably using Circle.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it, Blaiden. And they were probably using Square even before Square launched its most powerful tools yet. So Square is even better now, designed to give local businesses a competitive edge without the complexity. If you're ready to sell smarter, run faster, and stress less, right now you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/stay-hot. That's SQUARE.com/GO/STAYHOT. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today.
The Dolphins have a lot that they need to figure out, obviously, but quarterback is certainly one of them. They could rock with Quinn Ewers. But
I think it's a vet and rock with Quinn Ewers is my guess. I wrote
rock
down
with Quinn
Gino.
Ewers would be my plan. Yeah,
I wrote down Gino. I think he could get cut, but again, like I've said, ton of different options like Derek Carr, or I guess all the other dudes that we've gone through.
Sure.
The Tua stuff, I don't think they're going to find a trade partner for Tua. I don't think there.
No.
I think the limitations are too great, if I'm being honest with you. And maybe there's a team out there that says we'll be paid to take on that contract, but the number of teams that would be willing to do that, I think, are pretty low. Honestly, like maybe the Titans, maybe the Jets.
You know who would love Tua? College Football Game Day.
Trading him to Fox Sports.
Can't you see Tua on College Football Game Day, bro? He might have to retire. Like,
the injury stuff's pretty bad.
Yeah. So,
and I don't know. I think they're going to end up cutting him, would be my guess.
But
what if the Jets traded for him, man?
Why? Like, why?
They could.
They get paid to take on the contract.
Oh, they get paid to take on the contract.
Right.
Yes. But they would get the draft pick. They would get.
Like an Osweiler situation.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That makes perfect sense. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But you're on it with the contracts, man. Yeah.
I would really doubt that, like, they tell Glenn, like, your quarterback do or die season is going to be a guy who we're getting paid to take on, and that's that. Right?
It'd be pretty.
And there's a lot of teams, like any team that would, maybe they're just like straight up like, we'll take it and we're just going to cut him and eat the dead cap. But it really depends on
what draft pick they get, because they're telling Glenn, like, look, man, we got a bunch of money we just paid for a draft pick. So
sure, but
if you can't make that work, sorry.
Even then, it's like, okay, you could take that money and then just cut them and say, like, we're basically paying so and so for the draft pick, right? But whether, like, there's a difference between taking on Tua's contract and then taking on Tua's contract and then being like, this is our starter, you know? So I think it's a little less likely that happens, but I mean, those type of trades are not that common.
No,
but
especially in the NFL.
Like Osweiler immediately comes. That's a long time ago now.
It's been,
and maybe there's been one since then that I can't think of, but.
Yeah, I could see it happening. But as far as what the Dolphins want, I thought Ewers looked okay for them last year. And I mean, if you looked okay and you're kind of rebuilding, like what subplot makes more sense than like the young guy in a rebuilding year? You know,
I completely agree. I think, again, you can bring in a vet or draft someone.
Willis, right? Willis is the guy who always gets connected there because of Halfley. But it's like, why would they want 2 years of Malik Willis, the experiment, and then that, like, the contract for Willis ends, and then the defense is starting to round the corner? Like, wouldn't you want these next 2 years to be someone who's not making $30 million if possible?
Willis, if they're high enough on Willis, that would be the reason, right?
Yeah,
I agree. Though I think it'll be Ewers, and when I say a vet, I don't mean like Willis. I mean like a guy who is willing to understand. Like, there's been Dalton trade rumors. I saw a report about that today. He's not great the last time that he played for Carolina, and that's all I'll say. But if I can get a draft pick, let's do it. Yeah, so I think it's like a guy, one of the vets who understands, like, I'm going to be competing to start. So maybe that's Mariota, maybe that's like Russell Wilson, whoever. But yeah, I think generally their plan will be, even if they bring someone in, let's see Ewers. But who knows?
Yeah, I think Ewers showed some composure last year, like just body language in the pocket, seemed calm, had some nice moments, throwing without being able to get his entire body into it. He threw a go versus Cleveland. That's like unbelievable while getting hit. And yeah, some of the arm slot stuff, changing that in accordance to what he needs to do versus pressure. Looked composed, looked calm, had some unfortunate moments, I think, that hurt some of the numbers, like a shovel pass on the goal line gone wrong, a big fumble that's going to hurt drop back EPA because a drop back play results in a fumble. Okay, drop back EPA goes down. That has nothing to do with Ewers. A pretty nice dig route on Dagger that he threw, where the coverage on Theo Weiss was good. Imagine that. And it popped up in the air and got intercepted. Like, generally, I was like, okay, a lot of the big negative plays, I can sort of understand what you were trying to do here. It's not like he had some bad throws, like some outbreakers to Waddle that were way in behind. Like, I can see him getting pick six on these outbreakers at times. But generally, like, when it comes to the composure and arm talent and some of the athletic stuff that he's able to do, it's like, yeah, man, like, why not spend this next year looking at what you have in yours? Because you just cut Bradley Chubb, you just cut Tyreek Hill, you cut Tua Tagovailoa probably. Like, it's kind of a ghost ship here in terms of talent. So yeah, I'd probably just the Jets just played Brady Cook in serious minutes at the end, just because, yeah, you might as well see what Brady Cook has. And for the Dolphins, like, yeah, you might as well see what yours has and save your money for another day, I'd say. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yep. The only other two teams that I had written down being like particularly of note in terms of quarterback changeup are the Texans. I think they're going to stick with Stroud, but it's not impossible that they don't. But I think they're going to stick with Stroud, unless you think otherwise.
What would someone have to offer in a trade?
I don't know, because immediately you turn into a team that's desperate for a quarterback, and your defense is really good right now.
Yeah.
So it's there's rumors of it. We'll see with the extension, but I don't think that's going to happen. And then I had the Rams. There's talk about the Rams considering Ty Simpson. Obviously, like, Stafford said he's not retiring, but he's really old. I've said that I'm a fan of them being like kind of aggressive with who the backup is, because I think like they could roll in a next season largely a similar team and still be one of the few favorites to get better, and they've got extra like capital to go make a move. My guess is that they bring in like a draft pick to compete for a roster spot or something like that, and they don't get too crazy aggressive with it. But you never know. I don't think they'll do anything too nuts.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think Stafford just won MVP, and maybe he plays 2 more years, maybe he plays 3 more years. Like, why does he have to be done next year? What if it goes the exact same way, where he wins MVP again and they fall short of the Super Bowl? Like, he'll probably come back again.
Right.
So we'll see if Adams, well, maybe that's a reason why it wouldn't go. But yeah, I think for them, maybe they're the Ty Simpson team. Again, Ty Simpson, what's the difference between him and Cade Klubnik? If you're going to develop, if I was going to sit somebody behind Stafford, I'd say Aller. I want someone with a little bit more upside.
Richardson?
If they're going to be the guy who sits and develops.
Richardson trade could make sense for sure.
Dude, that would be so fire.
Theo gets really excited thinking about Richardson sitting behind Stafford for a year or two.
Richardson, like, being just guaranteed on the Rams, it would actually bum me out, because we might not see him play. I think Richardson needs reps. Get him to the Jets, man. Let him see what him and Garrett Wilson can cook up. But I might end up settling on the Jets as the Willis team, just because they throw a bag at him. Yeah.
I think that's insane. I think the Rams would be my 101 if I'm Anthony Richardson. Look, you want reps, of course, but like, you also want to be in like a really, really workable situation. Like,
but I want to clip farm Richardson. I want to pick
the Jets.
One play a game where he does
situation. Like, he was bad on the Colts. The Jets is a worse situation. Like, I don't want him there, dude.
They didn't build up enough. Yeah, I want to see him hit the one crazy pass per season. I'm talking about this from a selfish point of view. Bring him to the Jets where I can clip farm.
I don't think you're crazy about the Richardson stuff overall.
I know that I'm not.
I do think you are crazy about the Richardson stuff, but like, I'm kind of on board about like, if there's a guy who's got talent to sort of develop and take a shot on, and I'm there with that.
Yeah. If there's a guy who's put like some decent stuff on tape.
When we were texting the other day and you said like, yeah, he's in my top 10, I did think that was too far.
I said that. Yeah, it must have been.
You said he was a top 10 quarterback?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I said player overall. I said, all right, whatever.
I had Aller at 9, and I had Richardson.
He said person, top 10 person.
Top 10 person.
He'd be top 10 in my presidential order. Like if the president dies, then vice president, then whoever the hell, then Anthony Richardson.
And then Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson. He's gonna catch a cold and die in 10 days, like that one guy who went to both U.S. Super Bowl and president guy.
Well, actually, it wasn't him because it was the other Harrison, not the.
Oh, the Titans just signed. They just released Lloyd Cushenberry. He was also at the memorabilia store. There was a signed Lloyd Cushenberry.
I thought you were saying he was there.
No, his picture was there. He was like one of the few active players in that bin of like $10 to $30 signatures.
Oh yeah,
there was Lloyd Cushenberry because I think he played for the Broncos and that's why he's here.
Yeah,
I kind of think that's going to end up being the Linderbaum spot. Maybe that's just totally made up. They have so much money, dude. I could see them making a play at him.
Dude, Linderbaum, man, it's crazy that he's going to hit free agency and that somebody's going to be able to sign him. He's really freaking good.
I'd be pissed if I was Lamar, dude.
I would be too, because the reason that he's not signed is just because they're yapping about centers. And like, if you sign a center to the franchise tag, they become like the highest paid center in the league by far or something like that. So like the value is not there. So they're going to
give him a contract. Like,
I'd be so mad if I was Lamar. Like he was blocking Chris Jones. I was just watching some random clips last night.
Sure.
And I saw some of that, and like I'm like, yeah, man, he's pancaking Nick Bolton at the second level. He's blocking Chris Jones. Like he's a really good center. If anything, Lamar Jackson was the one who took a step back last year. Like when you look at the pressure numbers and some of the stuff that Linderbaum allowed, Lamar is really slower and less elusive last season than he had been in previous seasons. Like Linderbaum's still looking the same. So I can't believe that they're just about to lose one of their best players on the team in free agency when they're in the middle of this Lamar window. Like it blows my mind.
I mean,
honestly,
it's not like they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
It's just complete nonsense. I don't get it. So
yeah, maybe he's more inconsistent. He's more inconsistent than Creed Humphrey or Brewer, maybe, or what Ragnow was a couple years ago. Like he's deserving top center money. He's not a top center, or he's not the top center, and we have to pay him like he's the top center. It's like, how many free agent deals a year get done like that? And like Linderbaum is within a stone's throw. I feel like, I don't know.
I can't, dude. I can't.
Like Dak Prescott's the highest paid quarterback. He's not the best quarterback. Like it's fine, I guess. It's whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of times the highest paid guy isn't the best guy.
You worry too much about
Parsons isn't the best defensive end. It's Garrett, but he's the best.
Anytime you worry too much about trying to win the contract, you've already.
Yeah, you're just trying to thread. It's hard to win a Super Bowl anyway. I feel like you just make it harder when you try to thread these needles and make it absolutely like fucking perfect. And I feel like if you let Linderbaum go, that's what you're trying to do, is like, I'm trying to get it just perfectly right. It's like, just get Tyler Linderbaum blocking for Derrick Henry and like see what happens. Like, whatever.
Yeah, dude. Yep. I'm right there with you. So if you guys don't have anything else, we can send the good people on their way and get ready for the NFL Combine, which is sure to be a very, very good time.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see these guys. What position group we got next for
reviews? Tight ends.
Tight ends. Mm-hmm. Sick. I'm going to take a look at them right after this.
Yep. Try to find the true
Michael Trigg. Very fun prospect. We'll save it for that episode.
All right.
He's one of the funkiest prospects in the draft, in my opinion.
Hell yeah.
246'4".
Just go watch him play. He just kind of has like bizarre strengths and weaknesses a little, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, then get ready for the tight ends episode. Get ready for the combine episode. And until then, thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Hot, we will catch you on the flippity flop.